Hi, and welcome to the S.H.E Gallery Show. Thank you for being with us today. We are very grateful to be here. My name is Dulce Maria Diaz. I am director of S.H.E Gallery, and I am here with Eliana Buenrostro, community educator and volunteer supervisor for sexual assault program with Mujeres en Acción. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So we have a very, very special show today, and it's also very sensitive. It's a very sensitive topic, but it's also very important. Today we touch on child molestation and rape, the importance of it, how it damages our communities starting from our home front. So first we want to remind you that you are live on CAN TV. You're welcome to call us throughout the entire segment, and you can stream us live at cantv.org/hotline. And you can also visit us on our website, sharinghisenergygallery.net, and you can email us and call us at any time. We are going to start off the show today reflecting on Women's History Month 2016. S.H.E Gallery hosted an exhibition at the Hyde Park Art Center. This exhibition was called Celebrity Memoirs. Celebrity Memoirs was a very, very important show because it consisted of women who had shared very awful experiences as a woman, and through the arts it helped them heal. So we're going to start off by sharing one of these women's poems. Please join us. Red dress, artifacts of childhood. Artifacts of childhood. Processing the past. When the memories aren't good, what do you do with them? Throw them away? Save them? Shred them? Remake them? Is it possible to still be true to your child self? That poem was written by S.H.E. This is one of the walls from her piece that she did. Here she shares her dress, her memories, and her box. Child molestation is not something that you go through and it goes away. Neither is rape. It shapes you, and unfortunately, sometimes it can destroy you or your family. So today, Eliana Buenrostro is going to talk to us a little bit about her role with Mujeres Latinas en Acción. And before we get to her role, I also want to share my personal story with rape. S.H.E was very brave enough to come on and share with us her story, so I want to follow her footsteps. And I will say that when I was just a teenager, I was 16 years old, and it was the summer between freshman and sophomore year when I guess it happened to me too. It was very difficult to even understand what was happening. All I know is that I felt very guilty, and for 3 days I sat in my room, I laid in my bed and I cried, and my mother didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to talk to anybody about it because I was very ashamed. I thought that I had given my virginity away. I was a virgin, and I very much wanted to stay a virgin until I reached the point of marriage. I know it's a little old school, but that's what I wanted. I thought it was very pure. And when that happened, I thought that I had done it. I thought it was my fault. And for 3 days, I went through a lot of pain. When my mother finally called my sister, who was away in California, she was in the Air Force, and she called and she said, I don't know what to do with her. She won't talk. She's just in bed. She's crying. I don't know what else to do. My mother was at a loss. So my sister calls me. She tells me what happened. What happened? What's wrong with you? And it was very hard for me to share because I was very ashamed. And I was very proud of being a virgin. And I told her what had happened. I told her how I was drunk. I told her how I was at a party. I told her how the last thing I remembered was sharing the story about the pain that I was going through at the time. I was only a teenager, but my brother had just been shot. And we pretty much lived in the hospital while he was in a coma. So I turned to alcohol, and I was at a party. The last thing I remember was crying with my friend about the pain that I was going through. The next thing I remember was a bald head on top of me, and me screaming him off, telling him this isn't the way it was supposed to be. So I tell my sister this, and she tells me, "They'll say you were raped." I didn't like how that sounded. I thought the thought of rape, whenever I'd hear of rape, I thought that it was a really, really awful thing, and I did not like the idea of me being raped. So she tells me to go to the school, and I go to the school, and they end up calling the cops, detectives, hospitals. I didn't know it was going to be like that. I thought I was going to get a pamphlet. But no, there was still enough evidence, and they were researching, and suddenly it scarred me forever. And I cannot tell you how much that's damaged me. But I also want to tell you that it was not my fault. And I think it's very important to speak up. And Eliana will share a little bit more about why it's so important.
Thank you so much for sharing, Dulce. So my role at Mujeres Latinas en Acción, I am the community educator as well as volunteer supervisor. So one of the things that I do is go out into the community and give workshops on sexual assault prevention, as well as how to handle sexual assault, because it can be a very difficult, very traumatic thing. One of the things we do emphasize at Mujeres Latinas en Acción is that it's never the survivor's fault for being sexually assaulted. We provide a wide range of services. All of them are free of charge. We predominantly serve the Latino community in Chicago, so all of our services are bilingual. We offer therapy for survivors of sexual assault, counseling, and this is for survivors of all genders, ages 14 and up. We also provide support groups, so you can be around other people who have experienced sexual assault. We provide legal advocacy and medical advocacy, so we have staff go out into the hospitals as well as volunteers to be with survivors of sexual assault, because we understand that the process of being in the hospital and being asked a lot of questions, dealing with the police, can also be very traumatic. So we're very conscious of the ways that we can best support survivors throughout this process, because we know that healing is not just a one-time event. It's definitely a process that it's something that you constantly have to work on.
That's right, and it is. Also, aside from being raped, there's also this huge issue about child molestation. And a lot of times child molestation occurs in our own home. And I've come across way too many people, way too many stories where I hear, my daughter was molested, who molested your daughter, or who raped your daughter, my son, I don't know what to do. We hear about it in the news. Woman kills kids because they were molesting youngest child, and it goes on and on and on. Well, why is this child molesting this child? Well, uncle over here has been molesting this kid for years and years. And where do we stop? Where does this cycle stop? I think by speaking up, sharing our story, and saying
Absolutely.
that it's important. It's important to speak up, and it's not okay. So when a child stays quiet, that's saying that it's okay. Doing nothing is doing something. So we have to listen to our kids. We have to talk to our kids, and we have to do our proper investigation so that we can get the proper help. So also joining us today is going to be an anonymous caller. She'll be calling in shortly, and she's going to share with us her story. And this is somebody that I went to grammar school with, and I met her. She's a very close friend of mine. And so when I was in grammar school, I suffered from depression, and I was in a self-esteem program at school. And that's where I met her. We met at a self-esteem program. I used to write a lot of things about death, and the teachers didn't understand why. And so there I meet this other girl, and she's a beautiful girl. And she was just a kid like me. And I say, "Why are you here?" And she says, "I was molested." She spoke up. She did everything she was supposed to do. She even went to court. Her family supported her and everything. But the court fought against her. They said that her clothes was too skimpy. And we know that that's not okay. We know that it's nobody's fault. But this is where I met my friend. And she's here with us to share her story. Thank you for being with us. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Hi,
Hi. Thank you for being with us. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much for calling. I was just sharing with the audience about how I met you in grammar school. And I started to tell them a little bit about the experience that you were going through at the time. Do you want to talk to us a little bit more about what happened?
Yes. When I was young, very young, I was sexually molested, and it took me a while to come out and say something. It was actually through school, through counselors at school, that it actually came out. My mom, being scared, not knowing exactly what to do, waited some time before we actually filed charges, called the cops, went through the whole court system. I wish I could say it was a happy ending, but it wasn't. He was not found guilty, and I was about 14 years old when it was all said and done. So it really made me angry for a very long time, but it also made me very aware that it happens every day to a lot of people, to women, to kids, to so many people, and not everyone can talk about it, and not everyone gets through it. I am one of the fortunate to say that I did. It made me very aware. It made me, to some extent, too aware. So aware that in my adult life, I, again, lived through another type of abuse, but this time of my own child, by my spouse at the time. It was the most devastating thing to have to go through. But again, we are survivors. And I hope that there's some way that I can help others know what to do when something like this happens. Know that it's not your fault. Know that when someone comes out to you, how to know the right words to say if someone does need your help.
Can you please share with us a little bit about how it is that you found out that this was going on in your own home?
She told me. What happened at first was, it's actually quite sad. Because I was so aware of what to look for if something like that was happening, I actually made them too aware that when my daughter did come out to me and told me this, I immediately took all the steps that I needed to, and it just, I'm sorry.
It's okay. And you don't have to share anything that you don't want to. We can skip over this. And just share what you want to share, and that's it. It's okay.
It's just, just having been abused and having gone through it, I was able to help my daughter. I still am able to help her. There are times where we sit down and we talk about stuff that, unfortunately, it's so painful, but that's how you move on. That's how you move forward. That's how you stop being the victim. When you're able to accept that everything that happened, or anything that happened, is not your fault. And that's really what breaks you, is when you come out and tell somebody what has happened, and they because I had gone through it, I knew not to say that. I knew how that could break her. It's, unless you've ever been molested or raped, you don't really know the sense of shame that you feel. And it's shame, guilt, it's so many emotions that I feel, had I not been through something like that, I don't know that I could get through it with her or help her through it. So all I can say is that in your homes, in your school, no matter how safe you sometimes think your children are, just always be aware. Always be aware of who they're with, any changes in behavior, anything. And don't be afraid to doubt people. Don't be afraid to ask. And if something is ever said to you, don't ever ask them the first question like, why didn't you say something before? It's just something that I feel that I can't say it enough, because it really makes a difference.
Thank you. You can stay on the phone with us if you'd like.
Okay. I know Dulce is going to give an email. I hope that in some way I can help. I know that you're not alone.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. That was pretty brave. What the anonymous caller was referring to was something her and I had talked about. So this is somebody I've known for a very long time. And I won't forget when it happened to her. I won't forget the first time it happened to her daughter or the next time. And she won't forget when it happened to me. And we have these conversations, and that's what we women do. We talk about this stuff. But we need to talk about it more. And we need to do more about it. And we need to say that it's not okay, because that is doing something. Back when we were sharing these frustrations, I remember my friend calling me and she said, Dulce, I have to do something. I can't. I'm just so mad. I'm frustrated. And she was just like, I have to do something. I want to help women. I want to help. I want to help. I want to help. And she really wanted to help. So when I had this opportunity, I said, here we go. Let's help people. So we're here talking to you, not because we want you to feel sorry for us. And I think that's just one of the main reasons why we don't share what happens to us. We feel guilt. We feel dirty. We feel, well, what did you do? Or what did you provoke? I think especially in the Latin community, we hide this a lot. So I know that in old school machismo ways, this happens in Mexico left and right, and it's not okay, not there, not here, not anywhere. But women want to protect their husbands, and what will the neighbors say? And what will blah, blah, blah? We worry too much about what people think when we need to take care of our homes. If we can take care of our homes, we can take care of the community, and little by little we can help change. So one of the things that my friend and I said, aside from doing this show, we created an email address. So you can email her directly. Please visit, I'm going to get out of this one. Please visit our website, and in our website you can find our CAN TV page, and there you can contact my anonymous caller anonymously. You can share your story, you can do whatever you like, you can talk to us. And on the website you can also contact Eliana Buenrostro and contact her directly. Find out what else Mujeres Latinas en Acción is doing in Chicago. What else can they do in your neighborhood? What other resources can they offer? Do you have any resources to offer yourself? Please contact us, because this is a conversation that we're having together. This isn't She Gallery. This isn't Mujeres Latinas en Acción. This is us. This is all of us. We encourage you to call us weekly. We encourage us to visit us on our websites. We encourage us to be a part. Eliana, is there anything else that you would like to share with us about Mujeres en Acción, or anything that we can talk to like an anonymous caller about, things to look out for? What other tips do you have for us?
Definitely, I want to thank you and the anonymous caller for sharing your stories. I understand, like, it's very hard to be open about sexual assault, especially when people can make such shaming and like re-traumatizing comments. But I also understand, like, you know, not everyone has to share their story. It is a very personal decision. But I think what definitely helps is talking to someone about it. Whether that's a family member or a friend who understands, or if you're open to it, we also offer counseling and therapy at Mujeres Latinas en Acción. And for folks who are hoping to create more change in their communities, because there's definitely is a lot of stigma around sexual abuse in the Latino community. For example, I provide workshops to the Latino community in Spanish or in English about child sexual abuse and sexual assault. So that's something that we can bring to your community in Chicago. Mujeres Latinas en Acción also provides a 42-hour sexual assault training, so you can become certified to support survivors in while they are in the hospitals, in the emergency room, getting treatment for sexual assault. So I highly encourage folks who think that they might be ready to support other survivors to get in touch with me. We can definitely talk about getting involved with that.
Thank you. That's awesome. I know I will. I don't know if any of you have been in the hospital yourself as a victim of sexual assault or rape, or if you've been there with a loved one, but it's the most awful thing. It's one of those nightmares. Like when you hear that somebody's died and you're just like, I don't want to hear that. I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready to lose that person. I just want to keep living my life. I want to wake up. It's like that, where you just want to wake up and you want this to be over. And the next day you want it to be over. And the next day you want it to be over. Fast forward 20 years later, it's still not over. So I think one of the most important things, at least for me, that's helped me heal is talk about it. Talk about it. Some days it's going to be harder than others, but I guarantee you that striking that conversation is going to provoke another conversation, and then you're going to hear about another story. And whether you realize it or not, you're helping each other heal just by talking about it. One of the biggest things that's always helped me in all of my life's pains has always been arts, healing arts. Like Eliana mentioned, she offers workshops. I'm definitely going to be working with Mujeres Latinas en Acción as well. S.H.E Gallery will be teaming up, and I'm sure we'll also be helping your community, our community. Your community is our community. That's one very important thing, and we would also like to together be able to help heal through the arts if possible, or just talk to us, email us. You know, we're here for you. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience?
Yeah, so I haven't shared our phone number yet for Mujeres Latinas en Acción. So if you would like to ask questions, maybe talk to somebody about sexual assault or domestic violence, which are not the only programs that we offer, you can reach us at 773-890-7676. Again, that's 773-890-7676.
And please remember that you can also find this information through the S.H.E Gallery website, sharinghisenergygallery.net. There is a page there where you can get in contact with both Eliana Buenrostro. You can get in contact with myself. You can get in contact with our anonymous caller directly. Share your story. Ask for help. Do whatever you like. We're here to help. We thank you again, Eliana Buenrostro. She is the community educator and volunteer supervisor for sexual assault program at Mujeres Latinas en Acción in Chicago. We also want to thank our viewers for being here with us today. We want to especially thank our anonymous caller for sharing her story. And we want to tell her daughter, I want to tell her daughter, that we all feel crippled. We all feel like we're not strong enough to help another person. But we do, just by being ourselves and being the best little woman that we can be. By staying fearful and feeling ashamed of yourself or your body is not the way to feel because of somebody else's mental state. And it is a vicious cycle. And just by talking about it, whether it's through your poems or your art, however you feel like expressing it, just let it out. And little by little, you'll be comfortable with the new you that you've become. We're not all perfect, but that's just part of being human. And I think that's really important to understand. Thank you again.